I know what a lot of you are thinking. The first movie sucked, so how could they possibly get a sequel? Well, I thought the same thing about a number of other movie series. I mean, look at Spit on Your Grave. I mean, almost every last one of those movies had lost money and failed, but they kept doing them, and they're still talking about maybe doing them. Now, like I said, I've given my review on The First Blood and Honey a while ago, and for me personally, like I said, I would give this movie about, at most, I would give it a 6, mainly because I thought the plot could have been stronger, and I also think that more people should have survived. I mean, honestly, 99% of the people in this movie died. It's like there were more people survived in Scream 4 than that. In Scream 4, everybody survived except for 5 people. I'm sorry, everybody died except for 5 people. So, the first movie, let's see, I should remember some of the numbers off top. Now, surprisingly, Google had given the movie an average of 40 to 51%. And that was at best, which is a little surprisingly high compared to what I thought it would be, considering what the numbers for some of the other sources are. So Internet Movie Database gave the movie a 29%. Metacritic gave it a 16%. Oh, it gets even better. Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 3%. And it's like, that's low for even Rotten Tomatoes. And I would just sit there and think like, come on, who did that? Who honestly did that? Who was sitting there looking at that and going, you know what? Let's just give it a 3. How did they even decide that was the number? Why not 2? Why not 4 or 6 or 8? I don't know. They gave it a 3%. They hated it that much. They might as well have not even rated it if that was the case. Now, again, I don't think that it was, I'm not going to say it was an amazing movie by any chance. I mean, it definitely wasn't a masterpiece. And like I said, I watch a lot of slasher movies, and I would not compare this to Jason, Freddy, Halloween, Scream. But I don't think that it's quite as bad as a lot of the critics made it out to be. Like, this was just the worst thing that ever happened. Now, again, who would have thought that they would have taken a beloved childhood icon, childhood character that we all grew up watching, and turn him into something who's worse than even Jason and Freddy? So, again, I give it a 6. I felt that there should have been more survivors. I think the actors and actresses did an all right job. Now, the success on the movie financially was much better than I or almost anybody else anticipated. They had a budget of only $100,000 or less. The box office was still $5.2 million. They made $5.1 million off the movie, and then here's the thing. Not only was the movie only in theaters for a week, they didn't even have it in every theater. They definitely didn't have it in any theater, because I remember when it came out, they didn't have it at any of the theaters near me. They didn't have it at MJR or Cinemark or Imagine. I don't even think AMC. I think there was something that said it was about in 2 or 3 theaters per state. Maybe California probably with like 4 or 5 theaters because it's a bigger state. So I don't know the exact numbers for all 50 states off top. But I do know that it had a limited release. It was only in certain theaters, and it was only out for a week. Now, I didn't see it in theaters. I watched it on Amazon, and it's now available to watch on Peacock in case you decide to check it out. So now they've confirmed that there's going to be a sequel. And I guarantee you they probably wouldn't have done a sequel if the first movie had failed financially. So if they had only gotten about 50 to 90,000 at the box office, it would have been over. It'd have been a one and done, and people would have forgot about it the day after. Now, what do we expect out of the sequel? Let's see. Following the success of the first film, director Rise Frake Waterfield expresses interest in a sequel that eventually was greenlit in November of 2022. Okay, how did they know if they were going to greenlight a sequel in November of 2022? The movie itself wasn't released until, February of 2023? So I don't know. Original cast members Nikolai Leon, Craig David Dowsett, and Chris Cordell will not return for the sequel, with new cast members Chambers, Oliver, and Mackenzie replacing them as Christopher Robin, Pooh, and Piglet, respectively, in September 2023. The film is scheduled to be released on February 14th of 2024. Now, are they going to have it in more theaters? I don't know. Now, is this something I would see in theaters? Actually, believe it or not, probably. Because you know me, I'll go to the theaters for almost anything. I think anything deserves a chance on the big screen, at least a little bit. Now, is this going to be a box office hit? I don't think so. Now, considering the first film was $100,000 at the budget, I would assume that the next film is probably going to have a budget of maybe $200,000 or $300,000. And if they're lucky, they should gross a couple million, and it's still a success for them as long as they're making money off the movie. At least they're not losing anything. Winnie the Pooh's prosthetics in the film cost over $20,000 compared to the $770 spent on the first film's costume. That's another reason the budget was so low. The costumes weren't even that expensive. So, I mean, who do we expect to star in this movie? Scott Chambers, Ryan Oliver, Eddie McKenzie, Louis Santer, Marcus Massey, and Simon Callow. Produced by Scott Jeffrey and Rhys Frake Waterfield. So yeah, they have a sequel that's coming out February 14th. I don't know what, again, like I said, I don't know what all theaters it's going to be in. And if it's near me, I'll go see it. But if not, that's okay. I can wait. It'll be on streaming by April of 2024. I'm sure they're going to have it on Peacock or Amazon or wherever they decide to put it. So whenever that comes out, I will let you know. So stay tuned.